Hi everyone, welcome to episode 90 of the ITSM crowd. So the last episode that we did, we were talking to Ivor and Daniel, who've been in service management for collectively a very long time and who are easing into retirement. And after that, I put a call out to my network to say, let's have some people who are fairly new to service management and look at the other end of the career journey and talk a little bit instead about how people get into service management and what kind of a career this is. So we've actually got 2 episodes that are focused around this. This is the first one, and joined by Amy and Osagie. So the first thing I'm going to do is just ask them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves and where they work. So Amy, I'm going to come to you first, please.
Okay, so yeah, thanks, Claire. Hello everyone. Firstly, I'd just like to say it's a real pleasure to be here today with you all, and I hope you get some helpful tips from listening to us as we share our experiences and thoughts today with you all. So yeah, my name's Amy Bagri, and I am a service delivery lead, and I work for Logicalis UK.
Okay, thank you very much. And Osagie?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Claire. Morning, Amy, once again. My name is Osagie Ojo. I currently work for for Vitality as an IT change analyst, whereby I manage our governance structure for our changes and just make sure they go through the right processes, the right people, and the right technologies used in terms of delivering the IT services for our customers, basically. That's what I do currently, and it's been a great journey so far.
Fantastic. Thank you. My name's Claire Agutter. I'm going to be the host for today's session. For those of you that can see watching us live, we do have the facility to take questions from you as well using the YouTube comments. We can bring those up on screen. So if you've got any questions that you want to put to Amy and Osagie about their careers so far, please pop them into the YouTube comments and we will pick those up during the live session as well. So I guess one of the things that always surprises me is not many people seem to intentionally go into service management. It's a career that they find or almost kind of finds them. So I think the first thing that I was interested in from you both is, how did you come into IT service management? What was your education, experience? Was it something that you did as a purposeful career choice, or is it something that you moved into almost by accident? And Osagie, I'll come to you first with this one, please.
Sure. In terms of my career and my journey so far, I think I got into IT basically from my previous role, or I got into ITSM usage from my previous role, where I was an operations analyst for an energy company, whereby we used a bit of ITSM tool, but we were meant working at the back end of processes, implementing processes, communicating people, and using a bit of technology to deliver to our customers and to the business in general. So I think that's how I got into it. And the opportunity of Vitality came through, and I seized it, which was as an IT operation change analyst as well, whereby we currently use ITSM a lot more in delivering services and delivering change management to the business at pace, basically, which is what we seek to do. And prior to that, I got a master's in retail management, which was very useful for me in shaping my people relation skills and leadership skills as well, and to understanding people at different levels, at all levels, so I communicate better. And which I believe ITSM is used with. It's a perfect mix of having the right people, the right processes, and the right technology to deliver. So which has been a good journey for me so far. So yeah, I believe that's how I got into the use of ITSM, IT Vitality.
And did you initially think that you would go into a retail career?
In terms of my, like I said, when I got my master's in retail, it was more for just obviously everybody has the idea of retail just being you're selling at a retail level to customers, but it's more than that. Actually, in my retail, I majored my master's in retail. I majored in marketing, which was very useful in understanding customers and delivering their wants to them in a better way than what your competitors could do. And it's useful in all spheres of business as well, especially from an ITSM perspective, whereby you want to use the right mix to meet your need, to create that need, and obviously to meet it better than your competitors. So that's how I got into it. And like I said, it's my retail perspective was very broad as well. It gave me insight into different aspects of people and how to essentially meet their needs. So yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. And Amy, how about you?
So my journey into ITSM, it started over 5 years ago now when I joined Logicalis in the service delivery team. Prior to this, I worked, my career spanned across mainly in the telecommunications sector, where I worked for an international communications company, and I worked in technology and business sales. Lots of different roles and lots of learnings in that area. But my passion really always was to work in the ITSM arena. So just waiting for the right opportunity, and the right time came along. So I was thrilled when I started my role at Logicalis. But I do wish to add is I do feel my background prior to service delivery specifically, it equipped me really well. So I was able to easily transfer across my skills and my abilities when I came across from the area of business sales and technology. So it kind of, complemented things.
Yeah, I think that there has always been this, it's a stereotype, but sometimes it's true that, you have your business people who maybe don't have such a deep IT understanding, and then the people who are very technical struggle to have that conversation. And part of service management with roles like business relationship management and service level management has always been that piece in the middle, doing the two-way conversation and helping to understand what's going to drive the business forward, but also helping to understand what's technically possible as well. So I think it's very interesting that both of you have these different experiences that you can bring to the role as well. So Amy, you mentioned that you were targeting a role in IT service management. So what is it you enjoy about the service management space and the role that you do?
I actually enjoy lots about my role. I'm not just saying that, but for the purpose of time, what I'll do is I'll share the top three things I really enjoy the most about my role. So for me, firstly, I would say really the beauty of working in ITSM is that no one day is the same. So I deal with a real mix of different tasks every day and every hour of every day. So in supporting our customers, this gives me an opportunity to contribute towards the resolution of any service issues which do arise. And that's what my role is in essence all about. So I like the fact I'm never doing the same thing. And I get an opportunity to delve into different things if I wish. And it is good to really know as much as you can about the service we provide to our customers and all aspects. So that's the first thing I really enjoy. Secondly, I'm lucky I'm always learning within my role ever since I've joined. So it's continual learning. And the way I'm learning is the way I work really closely with all the sort of key support teams that are across Logicalis, such as our managed services center. Every team works has a really valued contribution to the service to the customer. So working across your organization, you learn you learn so much. There's so much more for me to still learn, and I do enjoy that. And then finally, that just leads me to point 3, I would say, is I really enjoy engaging with other teams in the organization, as you can probably tell. So working collectively towards one goal. I mean, that's what we're doing. So it's not just service, not just the ITSM area, it's the whole organization. And that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, and I saw Osagie there. You were smiling when Amy said that no 2 days are the same.
That was my number one thing about the what I enjoy. It's just it keeps you busy. You're always on your toes because the fact that you, from my own point of view, as an IT change analyst for Vitality, it keeps me on that spectrum whereby I'm available to the business and IT as well together because obviously this is the perfect mix of technology, people, processes. I'm like the middleman there. I need to know a bit about everything else. So we have to join those pieces together to make them work and to make them deliver services. And that's the bit I smile when they say that. It's not 2 days I like. It's always different, it's always changing, and it's good for personal development as well, and just makes you being better. And make, like I said, keep learning as well. And another reason why I enjoy the role, from my own perspective, is the CSI bit as well. And there's always room for continuous service improvement. There's a little room for opportunities every time, and you can't stop. As a continuous process, especially from the different service life cycle processes. There's always bit to improve those bits from the service strategy piece, from the service transition piece, from the service design piece, operation piece as well. There's always room for continuous improvement and proper delivery of services. So nowadays I like the room for always CSI improvement keeps me engaged and happy with the role. And obviously the engagement piece as well, where you have to engage with everybody from different support units as well, makes it a very enjoying role.
Yeah, and you've both mentioned there the opportunity to kind of learn and develop as individuals, and I think one of the things that people struggle with a little bit in terms of IT service management is there isn't a clearly defined career path. So quite often the same job will have a different title across two different organizations, or it's maybe not clear how you progress beyond a certain level. I mean, back when I was working on a help desk, we had kind of two career paths, and you could either go down what they had the kind of the process stream, where you'd become a process analyst and then a process manager and then maybe a service delivery manager, or a technical stream. And that, to me, looking back now, feels like a bit of an artificial break, because you need to be somewhat technical to work in service management. You need that broad knowledge. But where do you see yourselves progressing in your careers? Osagie, I'll come to you first. Where would you like to develop in future?
Yeah, like you did say, there's that challenge whereby there's no clear defined path to progress. And obviously with that being said, obviously there's opportunities as well for you to look at, which if you look deep dive into it, you'll be able to see. From my perspective, my desire is to go into the service transition piece, which I believe is more, because I do changes now, is more aligned with change management, get that piece in. From that process, I can go into the service operation piece as well, or even the CSI. But like I said, the first point of call for me is to get that service transition piece under my belt to progress and see if for other areas where I can develop into other roles. So I will be the service transition piece at the moment.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was a change manager a lot of years ago, and it was one of the most challenging roles I've done.
Yeah, it is.
Lots of opportunity to use people skills there, I think.
Yeah.
Amy, how about you? Where do you see your career progressing?
So I kind of see myself obviously as service delivery lead at the moment, and naturally progressing towards service delivery manager. That would be my next step for myself, and getting a lots of exposure and experience, and tiptoeing into service transition for a bit recently as well. So that was interesting, really enlightening. So I think my current role gives me a lot of exposure and elements to be able to grow naturally into a service delivery manager as well. So that's what really I'm in a lucky place for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's kind of, what's brilliant about working in service management. But obviously with every job, there are challenges and things that maybe we don't enjoy quite so much. Amy, if I could come to you first, please, and just maybe talk about some of the challenges of a service management role as well.
So yeah, like you say, it's not always fun. It's not always enjoyment. There's always some challenges. So which is natural with any role you do. So what I would say that I find challenging at times, there was a few things. So I suppose one of the first things is when we experience delays or setbacks in delivering services. So those situations. it is a challenge because you're clearly the communicator and the the first point of call for the customer in terms of the service side. So the questions are going to be thrown towards yourself, and you've got to be prepared to be able to answer them as honestly and clearly as possible. So you need to know what's going on with the delays, etc. So so what I would do in those situations, where there are setbacks and delays, they can sometimes be outside of your control. So it's really getting the detail of why we're in this situation, and that a lot of the services that we do rely on third parties, and it's having that relationship with your third parties and vendors and working jointly to deliver for the customer on the timeline set. But obviously that's the challenge in itself. So when this occurs, I would just suggest it's important to keep all your key stakeholders informed, and I'm talking not just the customer side, obviously the customer side, but also within your organization, because I've got my reporting lines and my management and KPIs internally to achieve as well. So keeping everyone informed and sort of what's going on and why there's delays and setbacks really. And ideally sort of what the next steps are and the timelines. But maybe the timelines keep them a bit fluid because setbacks can can improve. So if you've given a longer day and it comes in early, it's always a better thing. That's a challenge. Also, I do find it challenging when I have to deliver, if I'm in a situation where I need to give some bad news to a customer.
Okay.
And that can happen too. So it's but what I try to do in those situations is if I have all the detail captured on why I'm delivering this bad news, and obviously be empathetic towards the situation of the customer and how they're going to feel. Just put yourself in their shoes. Just think about you receiving this bad news and preempting the questions that you're going to be asked. So it's all about forward thinking, I would say. That's really helped me a lot in the past. I wasn't always like that. So, like I said, you improve. So just being clear on what the next steps are with a clear action plan, really, when you are delivering bad news, and provide some reassurance to the customer. I do personally take ownership of any sort of delivery of bad news as well. So with the hope that you're going to deliver some good news in the near future. So that's really my take on it. And there's always bad news followed by good news.
Yeah, I think that makes absolute sense. And it's, again, interesting, I guess, even in the scope of my career in service management, the criticality of IT services is so much greater. A lot of the early service management that I did was, we could still talk about manual workarounds. If a system goes down, then we've got the forms ready to fill in and we can take the credit card payments using the manual machines. But that doesn't really happen anymore. So it's that the role is even more important. And just a reminder for those of you that are watching us live, if you want to ask any questions to Amy and Osagie about their experiences in service management, pop them in the YouTube comments and we'll bring them up and we will deal with them here. Osagie, what about you? What do you find challenging in the role?
Yeah, I mean, the things I find most challenging, especially in my role, managing changes in people and behaviors, is the complexities between people, process, and technology, and that piece is that driving those pieces together is a big challenge because people's point of view are different from yours. People's mindset and what they seek to achieve. I'm seeking to achieve this same goal, but the way about going to achieve that goal may differ from what yours is, and that's why the processes have to be aligned correctly, and they have to be streamlined well so that people can follow it to the letter. And those pieces of how to continue. That's why the CSI piece comes in, where you have to keep on just thinking about improving that experience for the people, processes, and technology. Is a big piece that needs to be driven well. That's a big challenge for me. Another piece is the customer experience piece. It's all about ensuring that the experience side of things are delivered well, so that the customer journey for end users or from a business perspective, it's more tailored to not many pain points, so that things can be done quicker and well, and resources could be aligned easily as well. And that's the second piece as a challenge. And the last piece would be the lack of knowledge transfer among technicians, and that's something that it's not really is all about it's not done well sometimes, and a lot of people who are the SMEs may just have all the information of how to do things, but in terms of passing out down amongst the other colleagues could be a challenge, whereby the other colleague wouldn't know how it's done correctly, and but how when those pieces have been done together, and that lack of knowledge transfer, once it's been achieved correctly, that would bring into proper delivery of services. But yeah, those three pieces, the challenges I face in my role, and yeah, I'm looking to better them basically as they go by.
Yeah, and I could see Amy nodding on the knowledge transfer piece as well. I think it's a fairly common problem, but that's definitely that service management mindset, is seeing issues like that and trying to think about an approach to improve things. There's definitely, I think, a personality that is suited to service management, and part of it is having this continual drive to how do we make things better for customers, how do we make things better for our colleagues. And I think, I mean, we've covered some of the sort of the important skills already, but Osagie, if I can come to you first, what skills do you think are the most important for people working in IT service management now?
Yeah, I mean, what will rank as number one for me would be relation building, communication skills. You have to have that to drive pieces of different aspects of the people who you engage with well. You need to engage at all different levels. You need to engage with top management, executive, and hopefully junior management as well. You need to have that skill to be able to drive those relationships. So customer engagement skills would be number one for me. Second one would be the ability to automate, because if you have the skills to automate, which is what we are driving to achieve in most in our space as using ITSM, we need to make things quicker, done quickly, deliver at pace, and that's our drive at the moment. And being able to have the skill of automation, if you're good at automating things quickly or thinking of how to automate things quickly, then that would be a good skill. And lastly, knowledge management. You need to know a piece about everything. You may not know them in detail, but you need to know how one connects to the other and bring those things together to deliver. So yeah, those three skills are the most important for me, which would be relation building, knowledge management skill, and obviously automation.
And do you think you need to be technically proficient to work in IT service management?
I don't think so. No, you don't need to have that as a backbone yet. It's something you can gradually build yourself in, as long as you're willing to learn, and that's the main important thing as well. As long as you're willing to learn, you're willing to engage, and you're able to break things down into basics, then you should be able to get into IT. Yeah, you don't need to have the technical skills at a bigger level. As long as you're willing to learn it, learn the basics, and grow yourself into it. Yeah, and you can be who you want to be in that space.
Okay, thank you. And Amy, what skills do you think are the most important?
I agree with all of the ones that Osagie's sort of highlighted there. They're absolutely key. The other ones I suppose I had different would be to have sort of excellent organizational and planning skills around the role.
Yeah, I agree.
And to become resilient and bounce back quickly. You're working in a really rapid paced environment, and there are a lot of pressures that can come along the way. So being resilient is really important, I would say, as a quality. But obviously, we're all I've mentioned setbacks and delays. That's going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. But obviously, just to sort of not to panic. It can happen, but obviously, just to be aware of that. Something that's really important, obviously, Osagie's mentioned it as well, is to to demonstrate empathy. So I don't know if that was mentioned, but to be able to demonstrate empathy. Yeah. So when working with your customers. So I'm a very much a people's kind of person, and sort of a nurturing kind of personality. So I'm very well aware of that. and I think that's really important. Obviously, customers are really individual; they have their own personalities, their own goals. But so working with those that may be a bit more sensitive, I think is important. The last thing would be strong customer and team engagement skills. We are able to build trusted working relationships, which is sort of Osagie's mentioned as well. So it's relationship building all over.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I mean, one of the things that's challenging for people who are new to service management is that, again, there's no one career path. There's also no one sort of training scheme to follow. So has there been any training that you've had that has been particularly valuable? Anything that you'd recommend for somebody who was coming into a service management role?
So the only quick thing I would say would be, for myself personally, so the official ITSM, the ITEL version 4, which is what I've done personally, was fantastic. It's really opened my eyes and put things together, sort of joined the dots up. You're working towards that framework and that terminology, which is, talked about by many people across the industry and within the organization. That's where we're pushing towards within our organization. So then we've all got the same sort of hymn sheet kind of thing. And for me, the ITEL was the icing on the cake for me. Had to wait a bit for that, but I think it was a good thing. I got to actually work on my role and learn. So then when I attended the training, I understood things better, rather than just launching into the training straight away, thinking, this is all too much. Whereas, I could familiarize myself by actually having done the role and then following on. So I did wait for ITEL version 4. I didn't jump into the 3. So, go for the latest.
Okay, thank you. Osagie.
Yeah, I went the other route. I did the I3 first, and I'm going to 4 now. So I've already started it now. So ITIL is the framework, which is the aiming to the icing on the cake, which puts everybody onto the same page of how to deliver and how to achieve a business goal. I've thoroughly enjoyed that the course, and I'm still doing it, and it's given me a whole different perspective of how IT works, which I would advise anyone to go straight into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did my ITIL version 2 foundation when I was working on a help desk, and I don't think I'd be sat in this chair now if I hadn't have done that course. So it's astonishing.
Yeah.
So we're into our last couple of minutes, and we try and finish on kind of top tips and advice. So just one last question, which is, any advice that you would give yourself a few years ago, or anybody else who's new to service management? And Amy, I'll come to you first for this one, please.
Okay, so advice. Looking back at when I joined, I suppose I would. One of my key things I'd like to share with everyone would be, focus on understanding your customer needs and their requirements, because that's what really matters to them. It's not what matters to you. It's all about the customer. So it's very much focused on, what they're after. How do we provide that value? That's what we're here for. I believe so. Always ask questions. When you're unsure of anything, don't be afraid to ask within your team, etc. So, definitely get yourself some service delivery training, like we've talked about the ITIL. So that will equip you well with the fundamentals that we use within ITSM. And finally, it's just enjoy what you do. I always say just enjoy what you do. For me personally, ITSM is a journey, it's not a destination. So a big part of ITSM is the process of learning those best practice frameworks and then applying what you've learned within your role, your team, your organization. So that's my bit of advice.
That's fantastic. Absolutely agree about asking questions as well. Osagie, what about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with Amy and what she said in terms of this big advice, understanding customer wants. I believe shaped my own journey, because after I studied in retail, I did retail, I studied marketing. I was able to understand that need of how to meet a customer need is very important. The key piece of I believe using ITSM and delivering. And in addition to all what Amy said, one major thing which stood out for me, or still stand out for me, would be learn. Just keep learning, learn from people, understand people's behavior, because you need emotional intelligence for how to relate to people. You can learn, keep on learning that, learn processes, and obviously, if you can learn technology, like I did say, it's something you can grow yourself into if you're willing to learn. Just keep learning, learn, never stop learning, and that's what I would have told myself earlier. And if I had known of being ITSM, like she said, ITSM is a journey. It's not the destination point. It makes you and gives you so much opportunities to better yourself and to grow. So yeah, learn. I would say keep learning, never stop learning.
I think that's fantastic advice, and I'm such an advocate for lifelong learning, so it's nice to hear you say that. So we are doing this episode again with 3 different guests on Wednesday this week as well. So same time, you can access that again via the YouTube channel, and if you've got questions, you can ask them to our panelists. But for today, I want to say huge thank you to Amy and Osagie. I know you both have high pressure roles, but this content is really valuable, so I really appreciate you taking the time to share it with our ITSM community here. So thank you to you both. Thank you to everybody who's been watching as well, and we will see you on the next episode of the ITSM Crowd. Thank you both.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.